Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is David Pennington, who's the mayor of Dalton, Georgia. David, how you doing?
I'm doing real good, Kemp.
Good to be with you. I wanted to talk to you about this article that ran last week in the New York Times. A lady by the name of Kim Severson wrote an article. It was not very accurate, and I thought it'd be good to talk about it for a minute. I appreciate you being on with us. Before we get into that, you are, as I said, mayor of Dalton, Georgia, and I believe you're starting your second term, so you've been doing this for 5 years or so, right?
Correct. It seems like during the Great Recession, I've been mayor, but it's not my fault.
All right. Well, the New York Times is generally a pretty accurate source for news, but with us being in this area and knowing the truth around the situation and then reading what Kim has to say, she painted a little bit of a different picture for everybody, didn't she?
Well, she definitely did. And New York Times, I always thought was the epitome of journalistic integrity. Whether I agree with all their views or not really is not the operative point. But, a lot of what she said in there was completely inaccurate and gave a totally inaccurate perception of Dalton.
The way you read it with her, it makes it sound like that we haven't got our act down here when actually, we are in a recession. And, since carpet and all flooring is centered out of Dalton, this is really the effect of a housing market situation and not a mismanaged industry. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, without a doubt. But even with this housing depression we've been in, Dalton is far better off than most any other city you'll find in America financially, because we still have a manufacturing base.
Right.
And people need to understand, the carpet industry, particularly the residential side, is way off from 2006 and 2007. But they're still making a lot of carpet, employing a lot of people, still making money, not as much money as they'd like to make, and paying millions of dollars in taxes every year.
Yeah, I have to chuckle, when people poke fun. There's two major companies that we need to point out, Shaw and Mohawk, and they have culled their ranks a little bit, but any industry does that, especially in a time when volume is down and they have a chance to regroup. They're going to go through a process of optimization and mechanization, but they're still very huge employers in the area. And carpet, on the other side, she talks about the decline of the use of carpet. I mean, it's dropped a few points, but it still is a major flooring surface in the U.S., right?
And what we're seeing is the soft surfaces beginning to come back because of the apartment building is doing real well in America again now, and people are going to build smaller houses that require more carpet versus the very expensive hard surfaces. And also people need to understand, and I'm a baby boomer, I don't know how old you are, Kemp. Yeah. As you get older, you really don't want to fall on a Mexican tile floor. You'd much rather fall on this very, very soft carpeting that they're making today. And it's very, very much improved from a design standpoint.
Yeah, that's right. And another point she had wrong, I think it's over 80% of all the carpet consumed is produced within 100 miles of Dalton, right?
Correct.
This is still the carpet capital, major source for carpet made in this country. And as we've said, it still continues to be the leading surface with over 50% market share on an annual basis from a revenue perspective. And that beats, if you look at Europe is leveled out at about 38%. So carpet is still the primary flooring surface. So what are some of the other issues you had with Kim's article?
Well, first of all, people need to understand about the employment situation in Dalton and Whitfield County. There are 5 counties in Georgia out of 159, which I called job manufacturing counties. Right. And that's a city county whose employment to population ratio is above 50%. There's only 5 of them. Still third today in Georgia is Dalton Whitfield at 51%. Only Atlanta, Fulton County, and Athens-Clarke County, who's dominated by the University of Georgia government jobs, is ahead of Dalton Whitfield. So we employ the third highest percentage of population of any county in the state of Georgia. We employ people from southeast Tennessee, all across northwest Georgia. We're still a very, very much an employment engine for all of northwest Georgia and southeast Tennessee. Secondly, people need to understand from a financial standpoint, manufacturers pay a whole lot of taxes, particularly local property taxes. Dalton has been able to cut their property taxes 4 consecutive years, increased our general fund surplus, invested millions of dollars in new infrastructure, thanks to us having a manufacturing-based economy here, obviously dominated by the carpet industry. And it will be here for a long time to come If anything, at the moment, they're re-centralizing back to northwest Georgia.
Right, exactly. And you should point out that Project Stella, which was the IVC plant, is a $75 million plant that was just built, that not carpet, but it is a resilient flooring. And then you have major laminate plants, major cork operations. If you look around Dalton, it's not just carpet. It's and there's other industries other than flooring, but flooring, as you say, it's something that every structure dwelling has to have. And as the market starts to recover, we're going to be in a much better situation with the manufacturing base that we have, right?
Oh, yeah, we're leveraged when this thing does turn around, which hopefully the new administration that takes place hopefully in January is going to get this national economy going again. Mm-hmm. And with the unbelievable energy finds that we've had in this country over the last 3 or 4 years, we are the energy power of the world, and that's what manufacturers require. And if we do the right things, this country will be booming again, and Dalton is leveraged to take off. But people need to understand this about the carpet industry, any heavy manufacturing industry anymore. They're getting really good at making a lot more things with less people. And we're seeing that here. Even though as they expand here, they don't need as many people to make a yard of carpet as they used to. And what we need, obviously, and we started an initiative here of 0 to 8 of getting all kids on grade level by the end of 3rd grade, we need a better educated population to take these much better jobs, higher paying jobs, all of them with health benefits that this country needs so badly.
As I was reading Kim's article, and it was kind of getting me agitated because there was a lot of inaccuracies. Like take, for instance, she points out this Jerry Stanley, who is a retailer right there on Connector 3, but he's not the carpet king of Dalton. I don't know where she got some of her information, but a lot of it was inaccurate. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, completely. And I've heard of Jerry Stanley, but there is no true carpet king of Dalton. There's a lot of carpet kings here, right, and obviously dominated really by the manufacturers. Now there are some old retailers here who have been here a long time that are very, very well respected in the industry. But the manufacturers that have built Dalton, the retailers, which are very important also, but they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the manufacturers.
Okay, David, it was good to talk to you again. Been talking to David Pennington about this New York Times article that ran last week. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.